And welcome, Zach Wilks.
So, a few months ago, my wife and I are lying in bed watching the grand finale to Dancing with the Stars. Why? Because that's what you do when you love your wife. It was a hot night, but we didn't have the air conditioning on because my wife has very sensitive allergies. Instead, our bedroom window is wide open to try and get some breeze. And it's through that window we hear a blood-curdling, terrifying meow, meow. Within seconds, my wife is out of bed, into her sweats, and out in the street looking for this lost cat. You have to understand, my wife doesn't just love animals. She cannot stand even the thought of an animal in pain. They put it this way, if you just mention the name Sarah McLaughlin, my wife might lose it. And this wasn't even the first time that my wife had tried to rescue a lost cat. One night we were leaving a 24-hour grocery store, and over by the dumpster, she saw a feral cat. And she turned to me and she said, "Go get her." Now, I, being the loving, brave husband I am, of course, turned to her and said, "You go ahead. I'm going to stay here and protect the car." But the two kittens we found in the street that night were definitely not feral. They were clearly lost. And the next day, I went around in the neighborhood trying to find their home, only to quickly realize they probably weren't lost, but instead had been abandoned. Because I was talking to one of my neighbors, and he said, "Yeah, bro, I was up late because I was playing Call of Duty, and I was crushing it." I should explain, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of congressional staffers. I see you're familiar, okay. He said, "Yeah, so I heard this car pull into the alley, then I heard it peel out, and then a few seconds later I hear these cats crying. And then I went back to my game." So I don't know what to do. I go to our local veterinarian where we take our cat, and I say, "Hey, I found these two kittens last night," and the vet immediately says, "Congratulations!" He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." I said, No, I thought I could leave them here and you'd take care of them." And the vet said, "Oh, no, not a chance." I said, "Well, what do I do?" And she said, "Well, you, of course, going to take these kittens home, adopt them, and they'll give you years of love and affection and probably lower your blood pressure." I said, "And if I don't want to do that?" "Oh, well, your other choices, you and your stone-cold dead heart, can take them to an overcrowded animal shelter where eventually they'll be euthanized, probably by a chainsaw." Okay, she didn't actually say the part about a chainsaw, but she might as well have, because I know that if I even think about taking these kittens to an animal shelter, by the end of the day, they will be back home with my wife, and I will be the one at the shelter, my only hope to be found by a lonely single woman. You like this? He's my new boyfriend. He's a rescue. So we take the kittens home, but I'm determined we are not going to keep them. And so, of course, we don't name them. We call them 2 and 3. Number 1 being our cat, Ariel, who we have had for almost 18 years. Yeah. And let me tell you, Ariel couldn't be happier with the new additions to her home. And if you believe that, you've never owned a cat before in your life. She is pissed. But of course, as a cat, she's completely passive-aggressive. She refuses to use her litter box and, of course, takes her business to the living room rug. But she's smart. Because does she go on the rug we got for $100 at IKEA? No! She uses every square inch she can of the other rug, the one that single-handedly doubled the cost of our honeymoon to Turkey. Worst of all, the kittens themselves are not as kitten-like as you'd think. One went into heat. Her sister, fortunately, did not go into heat, but instead just ate everything she could and put on a lot of weight. Worst of all is my wife. She desperately wants to take care of these kittens, but she can't. Her allergies are going nuts. She tries everything. She's changing her clothes constantly. She's showering several times a day. Until one day I came home from work, and she was completely naked, wearing only a hefty bag, rubber gloves, and a respirator mask. I thought she was going to try and make meth in the house. I'm not proud of this, but I was pretty turned on. At this point, I'm going up to everybody I know like, hey, do you want a cat? You want a cat? How about 2 cats? What do I got to do to put you in a cat today? Until I start spending more time with the kittens, and soon they have names, Cleo and Jester, and I stop trying to find them a home because I realize they have one. Now that's a nice ending to the story, right? It's not the end. Because you might recall, I mentioned one of the cats didn't go into heat, instead put on a lot of weight. Good, I'm glad some of you know where this is going. A few weeks ago, Jester crawled into a box, and we got to welcome 4, 5, 6, and 7 into the world. And so I'm back to, do you want a cat? Do you need a cat? Take my cats, please.